Welcome to Medspa Secrets. I'm Ben Chu.
And I'm Jen Bullock.
And on today's episode, we want to talk to you guys about how you can turn the most amount of absolute strangers into high-ticket, high-paying patients using something called a value ladder. So when you first started out the practice, have you ever heard the term value ladder or anything like that? Or
No, I had never heard of a value ladder, and it took me a little bit because I started to hear as you were learning some of the marketing stuff. I would hear it in the background. I saw a book that you were reading and there were little scribbles or little stick drawings and stuff, but I didn't really understand what it meant. And it took me a little while, especially in the aesthetic practice, to figure out how to implement that into something that worked.
Right, for sure. It's not really a super complex concept, but it's something that, if you don't think about it, it's something that you would likely never think of. It's kind of just leveraging basic human nature and creating some structure in your business around that basic human nature. So, the reality is that the greater percentage of people, most people, are never going to start off their relationship with you by buying your most expensive thing. Whether that's a full facelift or a non-surgical facelift with a device like a Profound, like we do, with a bunch of add-ons and CO2 and stuff like that. Most people are not going to just day one, first time they meet you, start off with that.
I wish they would, but it's just not the facts, right?
Yeah, for sure. And some people do, right? Some people do come in, they go online or whatever, they figure out what they want before they ever even talk to you, and then they find your place and they're like, okay, I'm here for a facelift or whatever. But There's never enough of those people to truly build a wildly successful business off of.
Yeah.
And kind of use an analogy of something that's not your business or your med spa. Just think of dating and marriage, right? The vast majority of people don't meet somebody, go on their first date, and then propose or get married. There are some people that do get married very quickly. I mean, some of our best friends actually, they met when they were students in Europe. They dated for 2 weeks. 3 months later, they were married, and they've been together for 20 plus years now, and that's worked great for them. But they're in the minority, right? And you can't really build a business off of that super small percentage of people. So then that kind of begs the question is okay, well, how do we get the crowds? How do we get the bigger percentages of people? And then eventually turn them into those high-ticket patients. And it's by using something we call the value ladder. Now, I first learned about the value ladder from one of our mentors, Russell Brunson. He describes it at length in his book, .com Secrets. And it's kind of basically just, if you imagine, sort of like a stepwise ladder of increasing commitment and value corresponding with raising price. Where you've got your lower ticket offers, which is not very much commitment, right? If somebody's coming in and they're planning to spend $50 with you, $200 with you, you're not really asking for a big commitment. And that's where the greater percentage of the population is going to be more likely to dip their toe into the pool, so to speak, and kind of check out what things could be like with you.
Right.
And then if things go well, the second date, the third date, so on and so forth, then you build more and more commitment, more trust, more rapport. You can sell them the next biggest thing.
Right.
And then rinse, repeat, all the way up to the very top of your value ladder where you're selling your super high ticket thing and you're providing the most amount of value that your practice can for somebody for also the most amount of money that somebody might pay.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Well, can we maybe give them an idea of what that might look like? Because one of the things that I really had a hard time wrapping my head around when I first was starting to learn about the value ladder is I'm like, well, what is it that's going to draw somebody in, and then how do I move them up the value ladder? So let's talk about maybe some ideas of what a irresistible offer would be that would draw and attract people that you could then build the relationship and kind of move them up that ladder.
Totally. So, if you're looking to catch that big pool of people and then start integrating them into your practice and working them up higher and higher, you want to start off, generally speaking, somewhere down near the bottom of your value ladder. And that's going to be with two kinds of things primarily. There's your free offers, and then there's your kind of freemium offers. Free offers, generally tend to work well with things that don't cost you a whole lot. A lot of these can be info products. Maybe it's a free skincare hand guide or a free everything you need to know about laser or Botox or filler or whatever, right? Where you're giving them value, some nominal amount of value for little to nothing, and you've now created that connection and you've started to build rapport, and then you can walk them up into something a little bit more expensive that provides a little bit more value. On the freemium side of things, like the way we like to do it often is we do ask them to pay for something. It's not totally free, but we make it like irresistible by adding in some super awesome kind of gift with purchase type deal or extra add-on service that doesn't really cost us much, but then provides an extra layer of value to them. You surprise and delight them, you again create that relationship, and then most people, once you've made that connection and you're no longer a stranger, you've had that first date, then most people kind of generally speaking want to know what the next step is. Right? They want to be led on a journey to get that most amount of value. Because again, like we've talked about in previous episodes, like if somebody is coming to you, they're coming to you for a reason because they're experiencing the signs and symptoms of aging and they don't like it. So generally speaking, you're not going to solve all of their problems with a discounted facial or something like that, or some other lower tier service, right? You're just creating that relationship, and then you can walk them higher up the ladder. Another thing to bear in mind, though, is that other people will enter your value ladder at other points in your value ladder, but it's going to be smaller and smaller percentages the higher you get. Right? So you really need to kind of think out, like, through your menu of services and offerings and retail and all the things you sell, figure out what is very, very low ticket to free to freemium to mid ticket and then to high ticket, and start crafting offers and entry points around those different sort of tiers in your value ladder, and just realize that the higher you get up, the smaller percentage of people, that's going to be their entry point.
Right. One thing that I think I was most concerned about, and what I didn't really understand about moving people up and ascending and building that relationship, was that I was concerned that if we were giving away something that was so irresistible that everybody would want it, that we would draw and attract like the wrong type of clients. And so like people that were just looking for a good deal. And what I've actually found is, because first of all, we are well established in the community, we have a good solid reputation, we've got hundreds and hundreds of 5-star, we're known as the best in the industry. When people are engaging with us on these entry-level offers, a lot of times they're, I would say, a good 85 to 90% of the leads that come in that are engaging with us are people that actually do want to spend money with us. And of course, we're gonna get 1 or 2 people that are just coming for the good deal. But even those people, they end up being just raving fans because the experience is so exceptional. We're giving these people an experience that they're just like, I cannot believe that this was such a great deal and this is what I got, that they become raving fans that are sharing to everybody else all about their experience, right?
Yeah, and I think that there's definitely some hesitancy by providers and certain people in the community to want to avoid being like the Groupon spa, right? And
no
that's not really something you need to worry about when you're understanding the value ladder and actually using it as part of a greater strategy.
Yeah.
I think that you become the Groupon med spa when you are continually running ads on Groupon all the time. That doesn't mean that, like, if you put out an attractive lower ticket offer that suddenly you're the Groupon spa, because that shouldn't be where you're advertising these kind of things, right? You should be on social media, mailers, and some people do radio, TV. You're putting out these ads to kind of the general sort of targeted niche that you're looking for, not in a place where people are specifically looking for discounts.
Exactly, and that's the key, I think. Well, let's talk about like how do you practically apply that to like when somebody comes into the practice. So for me, I have the consult where the people come in and they're coming in on this really great deal. And so they're coming in for a specific thing, but we're going to talk to them and I'm going to take them through the same consult I would with any other patient that's coming in for a high-end aesthetic process, right? Or a procedure. So I'm going to take them, I'm going to do my aesthetic interest questionnaire, I'm going to scan them with the Visia, I'm going to give them a full treatment plan. I'm going to say, these are all the things that are going to be appropriate for you and this is why, even though we're not really here to talk about this, I basically pre-educate them for what can be coming down in their future. They go home with all the information they need, then we wow and we delight them with their experience, with their entry offer. And most of those people convert to high-end paying clients, right? So those people are coming in and when they see me or they see one of my other providers, they're being continuously educated along those pathways. And I'm looking for ways where I can serve them better, right? Because it really is, if you are coming at it with the right intentions and you've got your heart in the right place and your desire is to really provide the most value that you are capable of providing for these people, you're gonna build the relationship. They're gonna want to spend their money with you. They're gonna want to continue the relationship. And so I look for ways that I can ascend them up the ladder. If they're here for Botox, if I notice that they have fine lines or wrinkles around the lips, I might talk to them about a lip filler. Sometimes I'll just share with them a really exciting before and after that I've just done with a patient that said I could share that, right? And they're like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I need. So the goal is to be building this relationship, and every time we see them, whether it's in person or whether they're coming to an event or whether they're interacting with us in our social media, they're having these consistent touch points where we are just introducing the next thing that they're ready for. And because the relationship is there, because we've established trust, they take themselves up that ladder, right? But it's this guided process that we've provided for them.
Yeah, another way you could think about it too is kind of basically mapping out your entire customer or patient journey,
right,
all the way from entry on a low ticket offer to getting the best results and the best value that they could possibly get with your high ticket services.
Right.
And it's not an overly complex or wild concept, but I promise you that if you are not implementing it in your med spa and you're just running ads to only your high ticket services or only your mid ticket services, and you're not being conscious about how you're attracting pools of leads, what level you're bringing them at, and how you're going to walk them through the journey up that ladder, that you're missing a huge chunk of your potential revenue.
Right.
So I would really encourage you to think about, what does a value ladder look like for your med spa? How can you map it out? And how can you start moving your patients through that value ladder? So, if you got any value out of this, if you're going to think about implementing a value ladder in your practice and you want to learn more other med spa secrets, please hit that thumbs up button, give us a subscribe, and we'll look forward to hearing from you or seeing you on the next episode.
Bye guys.
Bye.